Oh my God. Oh, what up, y'all? Just had to get some water. We're going to give it a minute. I'm in the middle of talking to my wife. We're going to give it just a minute. Let everybody have some time to come on. I'm a little bit early. Hey, whoever's here, there's like 4 of y'all watching right now. Y'all let me know who's watching. That way I can see who's there. And there should be a damn way that I can see who's here. What up, Brian? I got the beer, bud. Drinking the skinny stuff. I usually always have a couple every night. Who else is there? We get the live chat pulled up. Hopefully we get a few guys coming on here. I know I'm a little bit early. Welcome everybody, whoever is tuning in. Y'all, I'm basically here to answer any of y'all's questions. What's up, Ryan? Hey, I was going to tell you, dude, my wife has the total access of the Flatlander Hunt email. So I apologize. I have not responded to you. I actually sent my wife off to New Mexico. I didn't send her there, but she's on a yoga retreat there. And she did send me some pictures of some elk tracks today. So I was pretty proud of her for that. But I will be getting a hold of you, Ryan. I want to do something live. That way people can kind of get that perspective of somebody that's brand new that, you know, I forget about half of the stuff that I know about elk hunting because I've been doing it for a while. And, you know, I want to be teaching you guys how, you know, to go out there and be able to harvest the elk, man. It's so difficult. And there's so many guys that fantasize about it and romanticize about it. And then they go out there and get slapped in the face because they're not prepared, you know. That's why I kind of reached out to you, Ryan, just letting you know. Hopefully you guys wrote down some questions. I did film some stuff with the Exo Mountain Gear pack today. Doing a review on it, but man, a lot of times what up, John? I hope you did good today, hog hunting, brother. Anyways, I just figured it'd be easier for us to go live and you guys can ask me any questions you want, and then I can answer those questions. And a lot of other people might have a different question that you guys might not have thought of. And if I answer it, then, and you guys are here with me, then it kind of helps you along in that whole process. I'm going to go back right here real quick. Brian G asks, what rangefinder do I use? And do you use a GPS tracker? Brian, no, I don't use a GPS tracker. And then, trying to get these settings right. So the rangefinder that I have, I've actually got all of my crap out here so that if you guys have a question about gear or anything like that, I have everything right here. If not, my bow is in the room. I can run and grab it. So, Brian, the rangefinder I have is a Nikon ProStaff 7. This thing is many years old. I don't know if it does the angle compensation. I couldn't really tell you, to be honest with you. All I know is I've changed the batteries like 2 times in the past 5 or 6 or 7 years. And this thing is bulletproof, man. It stays right here in my bino harness. I don't have a cover over it or anything. It's been through inches of rain, snow, you name it. That's what I use. That's what my bow tech recommended to me. I'm sure he was trying to sell something or make a quota. Anyways, that's my rangefinder. Who else is here? Fish Trap Hunter. What's up, dude? Big Ben's Outdoor Channel. Thank you, man. Those arrowheads, I found every one of those arrowheads back there. Backwoods Vet from Ohio. What's up, brother? Can you tell us your elk hunting plans for this year? Yes, sir. Fish Trap Hunter. So Flatlander, at the beginning of season, the very beginning of elk season, archery elk season in Colorado, me and the elk bros, I think there's going to be a total of 7 of us. We are going to go hunt over the counter public land in Colorado for, I believe it's 7 days. And then after those 7 days, I am going down to New Mexico to, I believe, I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell you guys the unit. Anyways, we're going to be in the Gila, I believe, for Hunt Wars. And I'll be coaching there for Hunt Wars. And I'll be representing the Elk Bros I believe it's for 12 days. So I'm actually going to be able to arrive early. I get to go scout and kind of put some boots on the ground. That way I have a good idea of when the guys are telling me about land features or certain drainages or something, I'll be able to kind of understand where they're talking about and how to move about that country. And then after Hunt Wars, I'll have like 6 days to hunt for myself. And I'll probably be teaming up with Kyle. If you guys have watched our elk hunts, we'll be together hopefully the last 6 days of season. I don't know if I'm going to go call for Kyle or if Kyle's going to come hunt with me. He's waiting to hear back on a unit that he's hoping to draw. But anyways, that's kind of my plans. I'm not going to be doing as much hunting as I normally do for elk season, but the opportunity with Hunt Wars is going to be freaking huge, especially for the channel, and everything's just kind of growing like crazy right now for Flatlander. Who else is on here? There's 9 of you guys watching right now. I'm here for you guys. Questions, y'all got calling questions, you have backpack questions, any of that stuff. I want to hear it. Even John, Mr. John Turner, I know you went out and tried to slay some pigs today. I know you have a few questions that were awesome. And I do want to get together with John to be able to, I want to put on kind of some guys that have never been elk hunting, right? You hear all these podcasts and all that stuff of these guys that live out there in elk country, right? They live in the West. They're in elk country. They're used to the terrain. Well, my whole deal is I'm not from out there, and I'm just as successful as some of these guys. And I want to show you guys that are coming out there for the first or second or third time how to get it done, you guys. That's the big deal. Big deal to me. All right. We're going to go back to Ryan. Does the elk rut happen at the same time every year, or does it vary by region? Okay. This is a great freaking question, you guys. So here's what I'm going to tell you. My favorite time of the year to hunt is as soon as season opens, I'm there, okay? And always, I've hunted all the way as early as August 25th in Colorado, and there's no such thing as a designated rut, okay? A rut happens when a cow comes into heat, y'all. It's not like it's a region, like all of a sudden, oh, the rut hit. and all the elk are rutting. Okay, does that make sense? It doesn't happen that way. What happens is in like just this little mountain here, a cow will come into heat anywhere between late August all the way through like the middle of October. Okay. So understand that rut is sometimes it's day by day, man. Sometimes you can hit a rut one day and then it goes another 3 days before you hit another rut. And I don't even really like calling it a rut because a lot of people insinuate rut with deer, right? A lot of times when the deer rut, it's because there's multiple does in heat all the time, right? So sometimes you could have a rut every other day in a giant canyon that holds a lot of elk is because a different elk comes into estrus every couple 3 or 4 days, right? So hopefully that answers your question right there. Let me go back here. I want to make sure I cover all y'all's stuff, so I'm having to go back and read some of the comments. Jeff Miller asked, going on my first elk hunt in Colorado, also archery. Oh, he said, thanks for all the info. You bet, dude. That's what I'm here for. That's why I kind of have kept this going on the channel, is because, man, it's to the point now to where I'm reaching so many people and I'm getting such awesome feedback that to me, I've demonetized the whole channel. I don't really give a crap about making any of the money. It's really cool that I've got so many of you guys that are benefiting, hopefully, benefiting from this. Fish Trap Hunter says, any thoughts about your whitetail deer hunting for the fall? Love your Kentucky hunt and Oklahoma. Fish Trap Hunter, I'm definitely going to try to get back to Oklahoma. I do want to hit Nebraska. And then I've got some commitments that I'm going to try to go hit in Louisiana. And man, to be honest, I want to go back to Arizona because the Cous deer hunt out there was so fun. I don't want to miss that hunt at all. So John Turner says, are there elk calls we should stay away from? Which ones are crucial to practice? Okay. So I'm gonna give a little shout out to the Elk Nut app. Okay, if you guys are gonna go elk hunting this year, you should go spend the $10 on the Elk Nut app and be able to make a call, and you can record your call on there, and then you can listen to the real elk, or you can listen to Paul make that call. Okay, and he gives scenarios and stuff like that, John. So for sure, if you don't get all of the calls down, I totally get it, dude. It took me so many years to be able to know what call I was making and what calls to use in certain situations, right? Like Joe always says with the Elk Bros, if you don't know anything at all, just mirror what the elk is doing, okay? If the elk responds to a cow call, then keep giving him a cow call and try to interpret, like, give it that inflection, right? A little bit of voice. My typical cow call, let's just say we're locating elk, right? You need to know how to locate. So you need to use your cow call. It's kind of long and drawn out. I like to throw a couple of those out there. Anytime that we're calling, we start out near. We try to hit anything that's close to us, and then we go far, right? So there's your kind of cow call that I use every time I'm trying to locate a bull, and sometimes I'll get a response off of that. So then I just stick with that cow call, right? I'll move forward, checking the wind while I'm moving forward, and then I'll give them another cow call to see where that bull's at, right? And if he responds, then I keep moving forward. Now, if I don't get a response on that cow call, then I'll hit up a location bugle, okay? rip that location bugle out there. And I'm going to tell you, this is a very important key right here, guys. After you give that location bugle, do not be afraid to sit there between 5 and 10 minutes. And I'm telling you this because I don't know how many times in my early days I would rip off one bugle, one, just like this. Then I'd sit there and I'd give it 3 minutes. And then next thing you know, I'd sit down, I'd start digging in my pack. And I'll be dang, dude, if a freaking bull doesn't come either walking up to my right or left or right behind me, like I'll hear a stick crack. So make sure, even if you give a bugle and nothing responds to you, that does not mean that something's not coming, okay? Always be ready. So now, whenever I give that location bugle and nothing responds, I'll hang out in that area for just a second. I'll knock an arrow. And then I sit down and I get ready and I start to listen. Because if there was something close by, a bull specifically, they'll come walking right up to you to come see who the new guy is. Every friggin' time. Every time. All right. We go back up here. Jeff Miller. He said, I need a good backpack. Looking at Warhammer. Day pack to one night. Man, I don't know anything about the Warhammer, Jeff. Typically, whenever I'm elk hunting, we're either camping right out of the truck, or I'm prepared to do like between 6 and 10 days normally, because that's about all the food that we can usually handle to carry. What I will tell you is make sure whatever backpack it is, regardless, make sure that you are comfortable with all of your equipment and that you've practiced with all your stuff. Make sure you've set up whatever your sleep system is, rain gear, tarps, any of that stuff. Make sure that it can carry all that comfortably. And then most importantly, make sure that it can carry some meat. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you're going to want to be able to carry 60 pounds minimum of meat plus whatever gear you have for that day trip. All right. I'm going to peek up here. What kind of spots am I considered or are considered overlooked spots for elk hunting? Ryan. Oh, shit. So, overlooked spots are what Kyle and I key in on a lot. Anytime that you can find a national forest area that a highway cuts through, okay? Do not drive to the end of a trailhead and go park your truck with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry up there and go battle on the trails, okay? Kyle and I will pick a gravel pullout that's only big enough to change a flat tire, all right? We will park the truck right there and start marching off into the sunset into National Forest, and we will leave the truck there for 4 to 8 days, okay? This is huge, you guys. I mean, this is huge, this information, for real. Don't go park where you see a whole bunch of other people parked. I don't know how many times that Kyle and I have parked right off the side of the highway, loaded our backpacks up, and then started marching off into the National Forest. Within 5 minutes of being from the truck, I'll rip off a locator bugle and something answers. I don't know how many times it's happened to us. 45 minutes from the truck, hiking straight uphill. Rip a bugle off, something responds. Now, take that with what you will, because those are probably some pretty pressured elk, but we don't just go park at the end of a trail or at the end of a road or anything like that. Like, we pick pretty unique spots to park the truck and then we'll hike in from there. I don't know how many different spots. Like, I'm trying to think of how many times we've parked at like a trail or a road or something like that, man. It's very few. And Preston D says, what is your strategy of finding and managing your water situation in the backcountry? I know you are filtering, but is it easy finding water sources when needed? Okay, Preston, this is a huge topic, okay? Speaking of which, I'm getting cotton mouth. All right, the water is key. Used to, I would camp wherever that I thought I was close to elk, hoping that I could find water. Most of the times, I was a man. I can remember back in the early days where I would have to hike 4 miles down into this draw to get some water and then hike it back. And we would end up having to pull, like, each one of us. This is when me and Luke used to hunt together. And we would haul 5 gallons of water up for the next 3 days, right? And then we'd have to go back down. I drink a lot of water. We'd have to go back down in 2 to 3 days and go pick up another 5 gallons. So now I don't do that crap, dude. I camp wherever I can find fresh, clean water, whether that be a spring, a good running creek that I'm going to filter out of, or a good running river that I'm going to filter out of. Most of the times, I try to locate a spring somewhat high in the mountain. I try to get between 9 and 11,000 feet is where Kyle and I like to hike to and camp, spike out basically. Okay. Once I come across a fresh spring, I will hike up to the origin of that spring, and that's where we like to camp. A couple of reasons is because I know I can drink right out of that source and I don't have to waste so much time filtering water. But that being said, most of the times, I'll take 3 liters of water with me plus another liter that is Mountain Ops drink mix. Okay, so I've got 4 liters for that whole day of hiking, hunting, doing whatever we need to do. And I'll be honest, by about 3 o'clock, it's time for me to get water again. And hopefully we're in an area where there is water. Or if I think I'm getting low and I come across a good water source, I always fill up my water. I've gotten out there before and gotten into the situation where we didn't have water, and then we had to hike 1,000 feet down and get water and then try to come back up to camp after a whole long day. And dude, it's just brutal. So try and camp somewhere where there is water and that at least whenever I get back to camp, I know I've got good water. That's huge, huge, especially if you're just running. If you're just running like a Sawyer squeeze, y'all, it's going to get clogged up. I'm going to tell you right now, over a 10-day period, I've gone through 2 of those damn things within 10 days. And that's just because I'm filtering between 1 gallon to 2 gallons every single day. And most of the times whenever I was doing it that way with a squeeze, I was filtering out of not the cleanest source, and it ended up screwing me a couple times where I had to like go back to the truck, go back into town and try to find another Sawyer water filter so that I could hunt the rest of my 3 days. You don't want to do that. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull this out of my pack. I'll show you. All right. You'll see that? Ooh. Square you up here. All right, here's my water setup, y'all. Okay. First thing, I have an extra 3-liter platypus bag. Next thing, and that's an extra. I actually keep another 3 liter in my bag that has a quick disconnect that I can just plug this water filter setup right into. All right. I'm gonna show you guys exactly. All right, here is my small 1 liter platypus bag. I've had this thing forever. This is what I'll mix up Mountain Ops or whatever drink mix I'm gonna have for that day. I go ahead and mix it up that morning and stick it in my pack while I'm right there at fresh water at camp, okay? Then throughout the day, if I happen to need water again, I have this set up, all right? This is a Katahdin water pump. It used to be a filter, but I did away with the filter because it clogged up super fast. So now I cut the filter off of it. It still has this pre-screen right here. I use this thing all the time, you guys. And then it's just empty inside of here. So this is just a pump mechanism, right? And then, so this is a pre-filter that goes down in the water. And then every year I get a good fuel filter. Of course, it doesn't have fuel in it, as another pre-filter. And then it goes up to the pump. And then from the pump pumps it through here and into this Sawyer Mini, okay? This Sawyer, by running it this system the way I do, and then it goes to a quick disconnect, and that quick disconnect also attaches to the bladder that is inside of my pack so that I don't have to dig that bladder up out of my pack every time that I want to refill the water, in my pack. But this is my setup. And like this setup right here, the way I run this with the pre-filters and stuff, it catches all of the super, I guess you would call it more, not as fine of stuff that needs to be caught. All the grit and grime and stuff like that really seems to clog up the Sawyer filter. With that setup, I can usually use it for 2 to 3 years on average without having to buy a new filter other than the paper fuel filter. Okay, it's just a paper fuel filter. I do want to find one that's more like plastic. See what other comments I got. All right, Fish Trap Hunter. He says, can you tell us about your Cous deer hunt? Cost of non-resident license, over the counter or draw? Is there a lot of public land, and what month is best? All right, so my Cous deer hunt in Arizona, first of all, awesome hunt. So the total cost for me to have a tag, and then you have to buy a hunting license. The hunting license was $160, and then my tag was $300. So it was a total of $460 for my Cous deer tag plus license. Now, what that also got me was the opportunity I can hunt again this year in 2021 because the license is a full calendar year. So I think I can just go buy another Cous deer tag of $300 before December, and I'm pretty sure I can go hunt that tag. I could be wrong on that, but I'm almost positive. But also it gave me, so to be able to apply for an elk point in Arizona, you have to buy a license anyway. So I was able to go Cous deer hunting this year and apply for an elk tag, or earn a point for that total cost of $460, if that makes any sense. Super fun hunt. Ooh, Ramshackle, what up, Keith? BJ, as far as the water around Aspen, bud, I don't really know. I do I do think you can probably do a little bit of research, a little insider information for any of you, for any of y'all that are going out west and you're going to go hunting in a certain area. Go look at the hiking, like the hiking forums or the hiking websites for the specific trails around you. And a lot of times those hikers will give away water locations. Okay. That's how I did stuff in Arizona is hikers will leave information about getting water on the trail, but hunters won't. Okay. Hikers will. They tend to stick together a little more and be like, oh, at mile 2.3 on this trail, there was a spring that crossed the road that you can get water if there's no water here. If that makes any sense. So do your research. Don't only think about people hunting that area, right? Let's think about everybody that uses those areas. There are people trying to summit mountains all over Colorado, and guess what they need? They need water. If they don't carry it with them, then they plan on getting it somewhere in between. And if they're camping slash hiking, backpacking, they're going to give away a ton of information that's useful to us hunters. Let's see here. More comments. Keith, I'm down, dude. Sitka public land hunt in September. I don't know. I have no idea. Preston D asked, what am I looking for whenever I'm e-scouting? Well, Preston, what I typically look for is I don't like trailheads. I don't typically like trails. And if there's a road, I hunt at least a mile from that road. That's just me. It tends to work well because normally whenever I get outside of the normal hunter's comfort zone of that mile from the truck, the animal sign, regardless of what I'm hunting, always tends to pick up. Or if I haven't found them, within that mile, I usually find them shortly thereafter. That's what I look for whenever I'm e-scouting. Other than that, dude, it's boots on the ground. Like you've got to cover country. And once you find that fresh elk sign or deer sign, then you need to hone in on that area and try not to blow it up with the wind or anything. Make sure you approach whenever it's absolutely perfect. Let's see. Did someone show you that fuel filter water setup, or is that your own idea? I've never seen that before. Chasing Giants asked that. No, man, that's my idea. I got tired of, to be honest, there were times where I was filtering out of like elk wallows or very slow running springs that elk would wallow in. And I got tired of burning up a filter after 2 or 3 days. So I started pre-filtering that stuff, and it got to the point to where I wasn't having to replace that Sawyer filter for a whole season. And dude, I would be out there by myself for 28 days straight. And I didn't want to have to go back to the truck if I didn't have to. So I started building, this setup because I got tired of filtering shitty water and it ruining my filters. And then I have to go back to the truck whenever I wasn't ready. Yeah, that's my filter setup. Me and water, man, there's been times where I'm like, I'm going to camp here because I want to be on the elk. No, now I camp where I'm on the water close to being on the elk. That's the way I do it now. Let's see here. Oh, dude. Keith, I'm down. When are y'all wanting to go this September or like next September? Because Keith asked me if I wanted to go do a Sitka hunt on Alaska. I'm totally down, but dude, I was seriously planning on it next year, 2022. I wanted to either go do Kodiak Island Sitka hunt. My cousin's an outfitter there and can get us a hookup with the plane and all that stuff, and he's got some areas. But dude, I would totally be down to go hunt with y'all. Send me a freaking text me, Keith. Text me. I don't know why you're trying to communicate through here, bastard. Hadn't seen you since October. Ryan from Kansas says, can you talk about how you use thermals to your advantage in the morning and the evening? Yes, sir. This is a huge topic. Okay. Used to, Kyle and I would hang out in camp until 9 or 10 o'clock every morning, right? And the reason we would do that is because we would wait for the thermals to get right. Because we found that most of the times, every time that we would run into elk, something that was bugling that we could talk to, they were always moving, man. And they were always going and going. And it got to the point to where, like, man, every time we encounter a bull in the morning, we lose him and then end up finding him or end up hearing him several hours later, like way up the mountain, right? Well, that's because of the thermals. The elk were using the thermals to their advantage, and we didn't necessarily, you know, it got to the point to where we were end up passing, or we had elk passing us going up to their beds. So now what we do, instead of hanging out until 10 o'clock or so, we actually start out super early and we go hike and we get as high as we can or as high as we think we need to be. A lot of times it's pretty close to tree line. There's a couple things that does for us. For one, we can drop over the backside of that mountain and hang out. If we hear elk coming up, the thermals will pull our scent down that backside of the mountain. But then on the front side of the mountain that the elk are working up, we don't have to worry about them smelling us. And then around 10, usually between 9:30 and 11 o'clock, that slope will start to heat up and those thermals will start pulling up. Well, guess what? We're already up above the elk and we don't have to go anywhere. So we like to get up there before the elk even get into their bedrooms now. Usually that's what we're looking at. Like when we're looking at a map, I want to know where the bedroom is. And those are the areas I'm going to hit because that's where the elk are spending most of the time during the day when you and I can hunt them with our bow. So yeah, we use the thermals. We let the thermals get gusting up because most of the day they're going to be blowing up anyway. And if we don't have any luck during that day, then when the thermals turn around that evening, when the sun goes down behind the mountain, then if we locate a bull or something like that, we make sure that we always drop below, knowing that the thermals are going to start pulling down at some point. The thermals are huge. You know, you'll have your wind that's prominent out of a certain direction, and then you'll have your thermals that'll mix in with that. So make sure you pay attention to that. My answer is always go high first thing in the morning, and then your thermals will be most likely be carrying up to you, and then you can work your way back down the mountain the rest of the day. What else? I know you guys got some more questions. There's 12 of y'all watching, only a couple of y'all saying stuff. Who's there? Preston, a lot of times I just try to find those areas that, sorry, y'all. Preston asked, what are you looking for in the units that you target? So, Preston, I really don't care about the unit. Let's get that squared away right now. Okay. If the department of whatever state it is, if they say that there's animals in that unit, then I feel confident that I'm going to go find those animals. Okay. It might take me a few more days, but I don't necessarily target anything really. I mean, Kyle and I have just drug up a spot and just been like, let's go try this unit. And we've never even been there, right? And sometimes we pull up and there's elk bugling right there, wherever we pick. And most of the times it's on a unique spot to where people are probably driving past it and the elk are used to people driving past it and not walking in there. That's a huge part of it. And then yeah, man, there's no specific units. Sometimes I'll target a unit that has a lot of elk numbers. And then sometimes I'll target a unit that has low success rate. And a lot of times that low success rate has, it's because it's a harder terrain, right? I look for the roughest, nastiest stuff that you can find. And most of the times that turns out to elk that want to talk to me. Because if you go to the easier stuff, I feel like the elk are a lot more call shy, you know. What is your choice of GPS navigation? Do you run a PLB or InReach Mini as well as cell phone? So, chasing giants, I'm going to show you right now. So I just picked this up. I used to run just a GPS. I didn't have any maps or anything downloaded on it. And then I would always use my phone with onX Maps. But now the Elk Bros use Zoleo. So I'm going to be trying Zoleo out this coming fall. Apparently I can text, I can emergency SOS, anything like that with absolutely zero cell service. Not a sponsor or anything like that. Joe from Elk Bros sent me a link that was, it had like $50 off this thing. So it was it was like 150 bucks. So that's what I'm going to use. As far as GPS, brother, I've never used anything more than just my phone as far as like downloading apps on onX Maps, and I'll also take snapshots on Google Earth, or I'll screen record Google Earth doing like a circle around the mountain that I'm hunting. That way I can always refer back to good terrain features and stuff like that. All right. White Lightning said Bud Light or Budweiser. Oh, neither, dude. This is skinny beer, Michelob Ultra. Trying to keep my 240 pounds at 240 pounds. Ryan asked me, have you ever had an encounter with a mountain lion? Dude, 2 years ago, I had a mountain lion damn near jump on my ass. One night, me and Kyle were hiking back. It was like a 14-mile day. I told Kyle, I was like, hey, I'm out of water, dude. I need to go this spring that's right up here. Whenever we get down to the bottom, I need to get some water. And then I'm good to go back to the truck. We were probably still just 3 miles from the truck, something like that. We still had like 1,000 feet to drop. And anyways, we go down there, I get some water, and we start hiking up the other side. And I'll be damned, dude, if we didn't have a cat come run in out from like, he had been listening to us coming down the other side, and he rushed in from like 40 yards. I could hear him running, and it freaked me out so bad. I ran and jumped towards Kyle and was like, we're being chased. And Kyle turned around and was able to see the cat right before he like tore off into the brush after I scared him from yelling. We do see a lot of cat tracks, and we try to keep our head on a swivel. You know, the cats scare me more than the bears do, to be honest with you, man. That's the truth for sure. All right, what brand game bags do you use, and how many do you carry? Jeff, great question, dude. So I like to use Allen game bags. It's the cheap. Okay, the company that you're thinking of, or that I'm thinking about, is Allen brand, like the cheap broadheads and stuff like that. Well, y'all, they have super badass game bags, and I usually keep 5 of them. I'll buy a pack of 4, and then I'll try to find another single. If you can find just a single game bag somewhere, I like to keep 5. 4 for my quarters, and then 1 for my back strap and tenderloins and neck meat and stuff like that. Allen, Allen. I'll show you. Digging in the trusty pack. These are the ones I use. I can usually, I get like 3 years out of these, y'all. They're super inexpensive. They're really good fabric. You can rewash them. I don't know how many elk and deer that I've carried out in these game bags. They're 20 inches by 30 inches, which is plenty big enough for an elk quarter. Even if it's got the bone in, these work great. And pretty inexpensive and really good quality for the money. See if I'm missing any questions here. Can you tell us about your practice regimen with your bow and what's the best practice to get better? Your shooting is impressive. Thank you very much, Fish Trap Hunter. So guys, I'm very fortunate being here in Central Texas like I am. I get to hunt live animals on a weekly basis, y'all. Whether that's public land or some private land that I have permission on, I get to go out and shoot my pig. I get to go out and shoot my bow at pigs on a weekly basis. So I'm always going through that adrenaline rush. I'm always being able to shoot at a live animal, and it's always situational, you know, and the yardage is so different all the time. I don't know if any of y'all saw the little trailer that I put together about the pigs. I shot one the other night at like 95 yards, y'all. I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't take that kind of shot on a deer or an elk, but because the pigs are so ridiculous here and invasive and destructive, we try to put the pigs down at any cost. So I whopped one out there at 95 yards. That being said, I also shoot my bow as often as I can. Here lately, it's been less than what I like. But if you can get out and shoot your bow 3 times a day and drag that tire like I was telling you, you know, to get your heart rate up, you got to get your heart rate up and then practice. Practice at 50 yards, y'all, and drag that tire all the way to the target and all the way back and make sure that you can't hardly breathe and then shoot and get used to shooting under that pressure, because when it comes time to those final seconds that you need to take that shot and you just ran uphill up that mountain, or if you're elk hunting or deer hunting, it doesn't matter what it is, that you are going to be able to close the deal after having not only the adrenaline rush of that buck or that elk in front of you, but the heart rate of having to hustle to get up there to make it happen. So situational shooting is very, very important to me. I do it a lot. Also, go to anytime that there's a 3D archery shoot near you, go out there, do not take your rangefinder, and go shoot the course, y'all. Go shoot 30 targets and see how you're hitting it just guessing. That's just going to give you that much more courage, or that much more, you know, you just know that you can get it done whenever you have that deer or elk in front of you at 30 yards. You're like, I've seen this shot 100 times. It's real easy to notice. Can you tell us? White Lightning said, was that a bear at the end of one of your videos? Which one? A bear? I'm trying to remember. Man, there's been so many times that Kyle and I have ran into bears. It's not even funny. Chasing Giants asked me, what broadheads am I running? So for pigs right now during the summertime, I'm running the 150 grain Grim Reaper broadheads. It's a three blade expandable. They destroy the pigs. For elk, I like to use an iron will with bleeders, 150 grain iron will. I don't like to use the iron wheels on anything else because they're so damn sharp. They go right through the animal and I can never find my arrow afterwards. Holden Smith said, Blanco, Texas here. What up, brother? Colorado elk. He said, if you're on a fresh sign but no bugles, are you sticking around? Are you moving in a different area in hope to find vocal elk? How much time do you spend before moving areas? So, Holden, I'll tell you this, man. If I see fresh sign, and whenever I'm talking about fresh sign, I'm talking about like damp pee in the ground, in a bed, droppings that smear like oil. Those are fresh to me, okay? Anything more than that, then I just take it with a grain of salt, bud. And if I think that elk moved through that area or something like that, let's say that maybe I see some fresh sign, right? Droppings and fresh pee right by a wallow that's muddied up, okay? Then I'm gonna take that information and I'm gonna put it to my map. And I'm going to look at my map and say, okay, they were here this morning. Where do I think they went? And then from there, I'm going to close in on that area that I think they went to bed down for the day. And as I'm moving to that area, I will call some, okay? Whether that be just a cow call here or there, and I might sit down and hang out in that spot where I saw that fresh sign. I might sit down right there and give maybe a couple of cow calls and then a bull, maybe just a location bugle or a little advertising bugle to let everybody know my presence. And then I'm going to start raking a tree and I'm going to give it a good 30 minutes after I've been calling right there. I'm going to give it 30 to 40 minutes before I pick up and move. Sometimes I'll just sit down, do a few cow calls, rake a tree for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to sit there for 20 and eat a snack, and I'm going to listen and pay attention. Because, dude, I don't know how many times, like I was saying earlier in the stream here, I don't know how many times I've done this right here. I'm being so serious. And then I don't even pay any attention, right? I bugle and I wait for 2 minutes. And then I sit there and I'm like, ain't shit coming. I'm done. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to eat a snack. Don't even knock an arrow, right? I sit down and in less than 5 to 10 minutes later, I hear a stick pop behind me and there's a bull standing there staring at me, wondering what just bugled. So always, here's what I say. If you're going to bugle, at least give it 15 minutes. That's nothing in elk terms, right? Those elk spend all day up there. They hear elk bugle, they hear cow calls, all that kind of stuff. You've got to be willing to give them time to make it over there to you. If they're across the canyon and it's 3/4 of a mile, dude, it's going to take them 30 or 45 minutes just to make it over there to you to see who you are. So make sure you're giving it plenty of time and be patient. Just because you're not hearing something doesn't mean that there's not something responding to you in the way of coming towards you. All right. Always keep your head on a swivel, brother. Chasing Giants said this has been the best Q&A so far. So many great tips. You bet, dude. I'm glad I can help. Roy King says, what up, peeps? What are some ways to store meat in the backcountry? Brian G says. So, Brian, here's the most important thing that I've learned about hanging meat, okay? The biggest thing is make sure you pay attention to the way the sun is going to track through the area, okay? Kyle and I, several different times, we have killed a bull and we know that there's not any guaranteed shade all day long, right? That the trees give. So we will build our own. If we have to build a little kind of a pallet of dead trees and limbs and brush, almost like a brush pile, then we'll throw that meat on top of that brush pile, and then we'll cut down in areas that you're allowed to cut trees. Remember that. Some places you're not allowed to cut any limbs. But if you are, then we would take any of the greenery around or weeds or grass, anything like that, and we would lay it over the top of our meat so that it makes its own shade, okay? You always want it up off the ground, and you want it to be dry and cool and out of the sun. That's most important with that elk meat. And dude, if it's getting down into like the mid 40s to upper 30s at night, I wouldn't be afraid of hanging that meat there for 3 or 4 days, as long as that's consistent and it never hits the sunlight. That's important. What up, everybody? What are my favorite elk calls? I love Phelps game calls. Let me see here. This is a bag of Phelps game calls, and I usually go through about, no BS, y'all, I'll go through like 5 or 6 of these calls. I'll go through like 5 or 6 of these calls in a week. I do have some Elk 101. I don't like Corey Jacobson's calls as much. I like the amp frames from Phelps. That's the stuff that I like the most. They seem to give a better call, it's like they're crisp. I don't know what it is. They're very consistent at making the same call all the time. Did I miss what pack I use? White Lightning. I don't know what tree, dude. Roy, the pack that I'm using is a Exo Mountain Gear K3 edition. They actually just sent me this new 6400 pack right here. I'll show you guys. I was using the, this is it right here. I was using the Exo Mountain Gear 4800, but I reached out to Mark at Exo and was like, hey man, I've got one of the highest viewed Exo Mountain Gear pack reviews on YouTube, and was curious if you guys would be willing to hook me up with a 6400 bag. I actually asked them for a complete pack, the frame, the everything, because I wanted to give my pack, my 4800 pack, away to one of y'all new guys that are going out to elk hunt. I thought it'd be a cool thing to do, but unfortunately they only sent me the 6400 bag. So I'm going to give it a try this year, and I think it's a lot better. Just by packing it up today, I could tell that it has so much more room, and it's outfitted so much better for a 10-day hunt, which is typically what we like to do. Unless we harvest a bull, then we're going to go back to the truck. But if not, then we're going to be moving locations every 3 or 4 days. We're going to move spike camp and keep pushing until we can find those elk. And I can tell that the 6400 just, it carries all my stuff so much better without overloading it. That damn 4800, man, I was overloading the crap out of it. I broke a couple buckles on it, over tightening everything. What brand base layers are you running on near freezing hunts? And can you give us, this is Chasing Giants again, can you give us a rundown on some of your favorite clothing pieces? Yeah, dude, Sitka gear all the way. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. I just started buying Sitka gear like 4 years ago, and I've already had some issues where I actually ruined some of the clothing. I ripped a zipper out of the pants. I messed up a zipper on my hoodie. They completely replaced the hoodie and then sent me a brand new one on top of that. And then on my pants, they repaired the zipper. And then they repaired something else that I didn't even ask them to repair, and sent all my stuff back to me. So like my everyday hoodie that I use, this is a cold weather. I guess I could read I can't remember. Anyways, I think it's their cold weather hoodie. This is what I use like every day. And then I'll have their base layer, which is just like that jersey material, half zip hoodie. All these have a face mask on them so that no matter what, I always have face coverage for whenever I'm bow hunting. That's huge to me. And then like I also use, see if I can get it out of here. Yeah. So this is basically like my mid layer. This one is also a man, I don't know the names of all this crap, y'all. I don't know. I'll have to look at the tag, man. My wife got me this for Christmas. That's the way I buy this stuff, y'all. I can't just afford to go buy a whole plethora of Sitka gear. I acquire this stuff like 1 year at a time. I'm like, okay, this year I'm gonna get a new pair of pants for my birthday. And then like if Christmas comes around, I ask my wife or my mom or somebody like that, oh yeah, could you get me this piece of Sitka gear for my birthday or for Christmas? And that's kind of how cause I mean, right? This shit's expensive. And sometimes, you know, I'm not gonna be going out and buying like a $250 jacket. I'm gonna let a couple other people pay for that or whatever, or I'm gonna save up my money and then buy it. So the Sitka gear that I have are 2 pairs of pants. I've got 2 hoodies because they sent me an extra one of the extreme cold weather hoodie. And then I've got that pullover in this other color. And that's really, and then I've got that base layer jersey style, the half zip, real thin weight hoodie. And that's all I wear, y'all. I mean, I'll be honest, I'll wear my pants for like 14 days in a row as long as I'm changing my underwear. Who else is popping on here? I'm seeing stuff pop up. Oh, dude, that Venom is a sweet bow. I've shot a bunch of pigs with it so far, and I can't be, I don't have anything to complain about at all. The breakover on it is a little bit different than that Factor. Just right there at the end, I'm so used to that Factor just I don't know, it just clicks right into spot, and that Venom is just a touch longer than that. But I did a little bit of adjusting and extended my draw length a little bit. My bow tech said that he kind of straightened my form up a little bit to, he said it give me a little more speed. Who knows? But the bow shoots amazing. I've been stacking pigs up right now. There's a lot of farmers out there with wheat fields north of me that I've been whacking a bunch of pigs with. Let's go here. Robert Holden says, nice axis. Thanks, man. That one right there is actually my wife's. And then see if I can show you this other one. That's mine right there. We just live in a mobile home, y'all. That Axis buck right there, he actually goes number 4 in the world killed with archery equipment, scored SCI. I killed that thing back like 7 years ago off of a ranch here in Central Texas. 17 of you guys on there. Anybody new that I haven't got to answer one of your questions? What's up? Hopefully you guys had a good work week and everybody's getting prepared. Y'all, I've got all my crap right here. Everything from my backpacks down here. I've got my bow in the room beside me. I've got my bugle anything you guys want to answer or want answered, let me know. That way I can try to help you out, y'all. I mean, we're all hunting buddies here. We're just in different spots, right? Just because we can't all hunt together don't mean that we can't help each other out, the way I look at it. That's why I'm doing all this stuff. I guarantee you it ain't for the money. Yeah, Roy, I think mine are 5 millimeter arrows. I'm shooting a 260. Let me go grab it real quick. I'm shooting a 260 Axis now. I wanted to go up just a little bit, and I like that the Axis were American made. That was kind of important to me. I try to support America anytime I can, and whenever it's American made. Dude, I don't know. 260 grain. I think these are the smaller diameter. Yeah, Axis 5mm. Yeah, this total arrow setup right here, it's got the total setup is 595 grains. I've got 150 grain broadhead, a 25 grain iron will sleeve, and then it also has a 75 grain, I believe so, a 75 grain stainless insert that all this stuff screws into. Hammer of a setup, man. I've shot several pigs straight through the shoulders here the past just couple weeks. I've been testing some broadheads, and I've gotten pretty much full pass throughs all the way, except for that one that I shot through the top of the head. It did not pass through, but it did. It buried all the way until, there was about, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches of a 29.5 inch arrow sticking out. So, I mean, there's only been one pig so far that I haven't found, and that's because I believe it was the broadhead. I'm going to start straying away from these broadheads because I've had issues with stuff not bleeding as much as I want it to. Like, I mean, just absolutely hammer, perfectly good kill shot, and then because of the wound sealing up a little bit, I haven't been able to find a few of these pigs. So that's a big deal to me. I've started going to something with either 3-blade or more. Preferably, I like the 2-blade with bleeders. But then again, these 150 grain Grim Reaper 3 blades with I believe it's a 2 5/8 inch cut. Man, they've just been destroying these pigs. So yeah, I definitely like this arrow setup. I've been shooting these out to 100 yards whenever I've been practicing, and the flight is just phenomenal. I can keep it, usually I can keep it within a pie plate. I have missed the target a couple times out at 100, but that's more my fault than it is the arrow than anything. What up, everybody? Robert says, you should have a meetup at an archery shop sometime. It would be awesome to get together with like-minded people to shoot bows and have some beers after. Robert, I'm totally down, dude. I tell you what, I mean, the Hill Country Archery Shoot, I don't know how many of y'all are Central Texas boys, but I'd love for y'all to come out. The Fredericksburg shoot is next month. I think it's like 3 weeks away. I'm going to try to make it to that one. And then the Hill Country was supposed to be tomorrow. So they're going to reschedule, I think, for in a week or so. And you can find me at Hill Country Bow Hunters 3D shoot coming up here real quick. Oh, you want to see the venom? I'll show it to you. thing's so sweet. Ooh. Look at all the blood on the arrows. Look at that. What happened here? Oh my God. Oh shit. That's so funny. Something hit that arrow. This is it. I target shoot with the same arrows that I pig hunt with. That way if I destroy any, you know, it's okay. I don't mind. That's another reason why I shoot the cheaper broadheads at the pigs. Brian G, New Braunfels. I've got several of you boys in New Braunfels. What's up, man? Yeah, I'm totally down. If you guys want to do a little meetup at one of the 3D shoots, y'all can come shoot with me. I'm down. Anybody that wants to come, let's plan it for sure. Robertson Garden Ridge. Y'all, we can totally do a Flatlander shoot. I'm down. We can all group up together. I don't give a shit, y'all. We can do a little Q&A afterwards. I'd love to film it and meet some of you guys. Y'all don't know how proud I am with I don't care who you are, y'all. There's 16 of y'all watching right now. Y'all, I'm just like you are, man. The only difference is maybe I might have a little bit more experience in the woods. That's it. I'm blue collar as it comes. I'm blue collar as it gets. I live in a mobile home that's paid off. I got I work for a living for myself. There's nothing different about me at all. And if I can help any of y'all out, email me, do whatever you have to do, hit me up. I'm not afraid to answer any questions. Brian, I don't hate at all. My son shoots a Matthews. I don't have a problem with Matthews. I've got a problem with Austin. What's their name down there? Archery Country in Austin. Those guys kind of did me wrong back whenever I was a kid. And at the time, they only sold Matthews. So I've held a little grudge against those old Matthews shooters. Holden, I was in Fredericksburg, brother. Next weekend in Spring Branch on the south side of Canyon Lake. Holden, email me, flatlanderhunt@yahoo. If you guys, I'm down. I want to try to 3D shoot from here until at least the middle of August for sure. Flatlanderhunt@yahoo. Hit me up. I'm down to go do some 3D shoots. Anything else more y'all want to see on this thing? Black gold sight, adjustable, single pin. Looks like the last shot I took was at 30. I can shoot this thing right out to like 98 yards before my fletchings come in contact with the bottom of the housing. I can guess pretty good out to like 105. Yeah, Preston, I always range. Anytime that I'm hunting anything, I try to get a good general range. And then sometimes you just, man, you have to guesstimate. And a lot of times I try not to make it to where I rush myself, and I try to always range the animal or something that I think the animal's going to pass by. That way I have a pretty good guesstimation on where that bull's going to walk. And then once he walks into that area, I just commit to it. And if I miss, then I miss. You know, I try to do the best I can and try to, you know, execute my shot as perfectly as possible. But in those hunting situations, just don't rush. Make sure you get a range on several different things, and then understand when you see that bull coming at a certain distance, take just a second and just, even if you've got to move super slow to get a good range, that's what's, I mean, why gut shoot or why shoot something in the brisket whenever you can take an extra second and a half, get a good range, calm down, pull back, and then execute your shot. I've never been in a situation other than whenever I'm like rattling for deer that I didn't have time to range the animal, right? That buck that I shot in Kentucky was a perfect example. I just didn't have time. I rattled, and then I set the rattling horns down. Immediately, I could hear that buck coming, and I had already ranged a few things. So I knew, like, okay, he has to get to this point, and that's going to be 35 or 40. So that's whenever I gave him the hammer. Roy King said, I tried a single pin, but the constant moving bugged me, and it's hard to go from 30 to 60 on a fly. Yes, sir, I totally understand that. But I modified my sight just a little bit, Roy. So I haven't done it to this site, but I could go grab my other site. So if you see this thing, right? This is an aluminum pin right here, okay? And on that aluminum, I will take a pair of calipers and I'll get this range from 20 to 30, and I will scribe it. A 20 is my pin, and then I'll scribe a 30 down here, and then I'll scribe a 40 down lower, and then whatever, so on and so forth, until I can't make a scribe anymore, if that makes sense. So whenever my pin, okay, like right now, it's set at 20, right? Immediately I know that I can go to the mark down below and it's 30, and then so on and so forth. So I don't have to adjust that single pin, if that makes any sense. I still can make an adjustment on the fly, and it's just, it's seriously, I might have to go get my other bow so I can see if you guys can see it in the camera or not. But I'll make them notch. Like I'll score this aluminum post exactly at 30, 40, and 50, and then I can just make an adjustment and raise or lower my my bow to compensate for that distance without having to actually adjust. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, but then at the same time, man, I try not to get into that big of a hurry. You know, I like to, if it's to the point to where I think the animal is going to bust out, then I don't necessarily take that. I don't necessarily take that shot, because I've had that shot go wrong a lot with deer and elk, man, for sure. But I still have it set up to where I can do 30 through 50 pretty quick without having to guess or move or anything like that. I can just adjust on the fly real quick. What else? There's 17 of y'all on here watching. Nobody wants to hear any elk bugles, nothing like that? Is there anybody drinking beer Saturday night? What's everybody doing tonight? My wife's I sent her up to New Mexico to go scout some elk because I'm too busy back here working at home. I'm covered up with work right now. It's just crazy. Hope everybody else is covered up with work too. This one's blown out. Did y'all hear that? That's the only thing that sucks about these calls, y'all. That black one's blown. See what Roy's saying. Have you determined where you're going for your whitetail trip? No, sir, I haven't. I haven't decided yet. Man, I want to go to Nebraska. That's really like my destination hunt for this year that I like to go. Nebraska, Louisiana, and if I could fit in another couple, that would be super awesome. I just don't know with work right now, man. I'm starting to get so piled up with metal buildings and stuff like that. It's crazy. And if that's the case, I've got to find a helper for my helper so that I can stay gone hunting. Locator bugle. What else? Tell us about your bugle tube, Fish Trap Hunter. Can you purchase one or make one? Okay, this is y'all, my good buddy Kyle, he makes these for me. I've lost like 2 or 3 of these damn things on the mountain, and he keeps making them for me. This is a little call collector that I actually fabricated myself. This is a 15-pound magnet that I had my mom sew into this leather for me, and this hooks right onto my hip belt of my backpack. Anyways, this is, I don't know if you can see down in this tube or not, but this is a Little Tikes baseball bat. Okay, we like this because it's a little bit thicker right here. And then Kyle takes this camo tape. He actually puts a sock around here, and the sock goes all the way up to this end. And somehow, y'all, he forms this thing to where it's this shape. Like, it looks like it's designed this way, but Kyle makes these. And there's another one that's identical to this, but Bear, who filmed my hunt this year, he found it 2 days after I left, and he has the identical twin to this bugle tube right here. So you can go buy you one, bud, and make you one yourself. It's going to cost you probably around $6.28, something like that. Robert Holden said, I'm in Alaska, flew up from Texas yesterday. I had to fly up early and cover a job. I worked 3 weeks on in Alaska and then 3 weeks off in Texas. I fly a lot off this time of year. Triple J Outfitters said, you down to swap a snook trip for a hog hunt? Let's do a collaboration. Yeah, dude, I might be down with that. Hit me up at Flatlander Hunt at Yahoo, Triple J Outfitters. Where would the snook truck, I guess you're down in South Texas, looks like. Yeah, y'all, I just want to tell y'all, make sure that you're getting your legs ready. Make sure that you're packing your pack in and out. Make sure you're getting all your gear dialed. The last thing you want to do is get out there in the mountains and not know how to put something up, or not, or miss something or whatever, make sure that you're going through your packs. I know we still have 3 months, but you might as well go ahead and pack your pack full of food, full of water. Get it. I mean, my pack's going to be 50 pounds. That's probably what I'm going to be walking in with once I add my tripod and a little bit more food to it. Y'all might as well start hiking with that stuff right now. Start getting out there and working your legs, and make sure that you're 100% ready, y'all. Who all applied for archery hunts in Colorado this year? I applied for bear and elk in northern Colorado. Robert, I didn't apply for any tags. I did. I applied for New Mexico. I applied for Arizona. I totally missed the draw for Colorado. I possibly am going to put in for a leftover tag in Colorado, but I'm waiting to see what comes out. There's some good opportunities there with those leftover tags. But yeah, I try not to draw a lot just because I never know where I'm going to be. And I love doing the OTC stuff because that's what the majority of us can do is over the counter. I can't bring myself to do any of these damn draw hunts because the point creep and all that is so far gone. Like, if I do try to draw for something, it's going to be something that I can draw in 2 to 3 to 4 years because I don't have the patience, y'all, to wait for whenever, for 10 years from now to draw a tag, I'm out. I don't even want to think about that. Chasing Giants. Keen to know what knife or knives you have for breaking down deer and elk. Yeah, man, I'll show you. So this is my knife that I usually do most of my gutting. Really, it's utility knife also. My father-in-law made this knife for me. It's got a little junk on it. I don't ever clean it. This is a high carbon steel. The blade is about 3/16 of an inch thick. It's a Holman. My father-in-law, I just gutted some pigs with it, y'all. Dana Holman built this knife for me. This is actually a deer antler out of a buck that my dad killed. So I have the right beam to that buck, and then my dad has the left beam. So we have identical looking knives, just one out of the other of his antlers. This thing is bulletproof. Whenever I used to guide, I use this knife, had it on my hip all the time. It's clean, literally it's clean probably a couple thousand animals. And it's just razor sharp. I also keep a backup knife that a good friend of mine gave me from Kentucky. I keep it in my backpack as well, just in case if I need to cape a bull or if I need to cape a whitetail, then I have something that's a little bit more finesse, a little, something that's really, really sharp. What else, y'all? What other questions can you think of? Who's all going elk hunting this year? I want to see a show of hands. Who's going elk hunting this year? And then who is going elk hunting for their very first time? I want to know that. Because you guys are who I'm really trying to target here. Preston said he's going for his week the first time. Jeff Miller's going for the first time. Holden Smith's going for the first time. Fish Trap Hunter is going for the first time. Preston D, he just told me thank you for answering the questions. BJ Gypsum's first time ever. You guys, man, you don't know how fired up that makes me, y'all. This is going to be my 9th year going into the elk woods. Everything that I've learned, y'all, has been Brian G. first time. Everything that I've learned has been self-taught. I've either read it, I've listened to it on a podcast, or I've experienced it. You know what I mean? And a lot of this stuff I have experienced, y'all. No bullshit. Like, it is gonna be... Okay, out of all y'all, there was like 6 of y'all. Out of all y'all, how many of y'all have even set foot in the mountains? I want to know that also. Because for those of y'all that have never been there, you guys, it is so freaking huge. It's so huge. Just do not get discouraged, okay? When you first roll up on that mountain and you get out of the truck and you hike your first mile, okay? And you look back and you're like, holy crap. Holy crap. Don't give up, y'all. Take your time. Make sure that you have plenty of time to go up there and acclimate, okay? At least acclimate for 1 to 2 days before you start getting in there and really busting it, okay? Make sure you take plenty of ibuprofen and make sure you're drinking so much water before you get there that you're peeing every hour on your trip to drive up, okay? You need to be hydrated. You need to be ready because no bullshit, it's going to be one of the hardest things that you've ever done, y'all. Chasing Giants says, I'm in Australia. We'll make it over one day. Dude, that is so cool that you're in Australia. So appreciate the support, brother. I can't tell you how much. I mean, dude, that makes me so proud. Somebody from way over there is sitting here watching me live right now. So Jeff, I used to use a decoy. I got away from the decoy. Okay. Here's why. It's because when you're putting that scene together and you're really getting that bull committed and he's coming in, then guess what? He's looking for elk. Okay. If he gets to the point to where he should see you, then he's continuing to look for elk. But if he sees an elk, then that might be an opportunity that he might hang up. So me personally, I don't use a decoy because I want to call them in, and by the time I see them, I've already got my bow drawn back and I'm getting ready to shoot that sucker. Whereas a decoy is just going to bring him in even closer, right? I don't want to have to fool with it. I don't want to have to try to deploy it. I don't want to have to worry about carrying it around. None of that stuff. Like when we hunt for elk, they're searching for elk, and if they never see one, then to they continue to search for that elk. If that makes sense, right? They don't even see you, brother. I'm telling you right now, they're going to look right past you because they're searching for elk. They're looking and looking and looking. And if they don't see it, then they're going to move forward some more until they either wind you or until they catch you drawing your bow. And then they're going to bust out of there. Don't get me wrong. I know, guys, Joe Gilia, he likes to use decoys. I'm not somebody that wants to carry it around. And I firmly believe that if we're in a caller shooter setup, then me as the caller, I'm going to bring that bull right past my shooter because he's going to think those elk are way further away than what my shooter is. And that decoy is not going to be needed. With that being said, this last year, I probably could have made a shot on those elk right off the bat. If I had a decoy, they probably wouldn't have spooked and caught my wind by trying to circle. They probably would have just come straight into me. But I don't really know. You know, I've never really used a decoy. I've carried one around a ton. I've just never deployed it. It stayed in my backpack, and I never wanted to fool with it. We always got into the heat of the moment, and it got to the point to where I just forgot about it. You know, I was too busy trying to work that bull. Okay. Going on my second this year, George Ford said, Northwest Montana. Good luck, Mr. Ford. Roy said, aye, on the water. I'm switching back and forth between the water and the beer. I'm talking so much, I'm getting damn cottonmouth. Let's see, who else? BJ, thank you, brother. Brian, did you ever get the altitude sickness? No, man. I never have gotten the altitude sickness, and I think this is why. Is because most of the times Kyle and I like to hunt pretty high, normally it's between 9 and 12,000 feet, right? And we're covering between that 9 and 12,000 feet on a daily basis. But whenever I first get into town, I always like to get there a couple days before season. For one, I like to go scout around and kind of acclimate myself. And two, I like to just chill out at about 7 to 8,000 feet for a couple days, maybe hiking up to 11,000 feet, but back down that night, just doing my scout. And then after hanging out at 7 to 8,000 feet for a couple days, then I'm ready. I think I'm acclimated. And then usually Kyle and I will hike into around 10,000 feet. We'll camp there. I think the worst bit of altitude sickness that I get is really like a mean headache the day after or 2 days after being there. And me, I think just stay hydrated and pop you 4 or 5 ibuprofen in the morning, and you're just gonna have to work through that headache. It's just kind of something you're gonna have to get used to, and after a couple of days, your body will become kind of acclimated. Now, with that being said, if you're spending a lot of time above 11,000 feet, be careful because there is risk of hypoxia. where your lungs start to fill up with fluid, and it's not a good thing. You know, you need to go down, get down lower elevation, and get your lungs back acclimated and get rid of that fluid. I'm laughing at some of y'all's comments. If I only had 10 days to be in Colorado for elk, you going early, mid, or late season? Holden, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm a early goer. I want to be there opening day of season. Um, that's my go around. I like to be there early. I like to be there before the bulls get cows, because to me, I think they're so much more callable. If you come in as a new bull and you advertise yourself and don't get too aggressive, then you'll get other bulls that want to establish pecking order, and you'll get those bulls that are just going to call you over a lot of times, and you can seal the deal pretty easy without ever even having to bring a cow into that situation. You know, if a bull responds to me after I locate bugle, man, it's on. It's straight up on. Especially if I locate bugle and then he chuckles back to me, he's basically telling me to come over and let's hang out. Right? That's your buddy saying, "Hey, dude, let's come over here and let's drink some beers and let's arm wrestle and let's see who's going to win at arm wrestling to see who's going to get to date that chick." Right? It's the same thing with elk. If you throw out a locate bugle, right, and you get back and respond one of these, he's telling you to come over there. You need to close the distance as fast as you can, get over there within range to him, or what you think might be 100 or 150 yards, and then ask him where he's at again. Throw out another locate bugle so that he can tell you where he's at. Hit him with the locate bugle. He responds. If he responds with another chuckle, then go to him. Keep going to him until you are uncomfortably close, and then start raking a tree, or because raking a tree, you're basically demonstrating to him that you're a bigger bull, or you think that your pecking order is higher than his, right? And then he's going to want to come check you out. I hope that answered your question. Eagle Rare, Longmorn, Revolver. You guys talking about beer or what? I'm not a big beer guy. Not a big drinker much at all, really. If I drank any of that dark beer, I'd probably be laying on the floor right now. How long have we been going? 98 minutes already? Are you kidding? That's awesome. There's been a pretty steady stream of you guys coming on and off. Anybody else have any more questions? I'm thinking about doing this whole live. I think we need to do this live like once a week or something like that. Make sure we got everybody's questions answered. Make sure we're covering all the bases for you guys that are going out, man. This is y'all's first year, y'all. A lot of y'all are about to spend upwards of like $700 to $800, $1,200 if you're in Montana just to go get your tag, you know, and that's not including all the money you have invested in your pack and your bow and your arrows and all your gear and all that stuff. Got a couple questions. So you're welcome, Fish Trap Hunter, for the information. Roy said, I actually was quoting a song, but thanks for the comment. You bet, brother. Robert Holden said, do you find that mimicking the elk is a good way to get them angry and running in? Well, first of all, Robert, I don't really care about getting a bull angry, okay? A lot of times when a bull is chuckling to you, whether you're using a cow call, like this is a good example, okay? Let's say I'm trying to locate a bull and I give him a cow call. right? And off in the distance, you hear a chuckle. All that means is that he's asking you to come over to him, like he's asking you to do something. So immediately, my response there would be to cow call my way straight to that bull until I think I'm too close, okay? And what that looks like whenever and sometimes I'm running to that bull and letting him know that I'm coming. And I'm doing this right here. No bullshit. I'm running. I'm running. Crashing, popping, banging, running. And that bull's over there like this. Every now and then I might stop and just go quiet and just sit there and listen, just in case if that bull's coming to me, right? I'm not trying to make him angry. I'm just trying to tell him or get him to invite me to come over to him, unless he is angry. And the only time a bull is angry is if he has a hot cow, okay? There might be other times where he might say something to you that you might think is an anger response, but really it's just him telling you, hey, don't come any closer. Like, I'm not inviting you over here. I'm just letting you know that there's a bull here, and that's as far as I want you to come. He might give you a response like this. All he's doing right there is just telling you, hey, this is my territory over here. And more than likely, it's because that bull has cows, and he doesn't want you to come over there and possibly steal one of his cows. So when you hear a bull that's angry, it's because he has a hot cow. And then you need to move in there and you need to start trying to call to that cow. Don't worry about what the bull is telling you, because the bull's already pissed off. He's telling you to get away every call he makes. If he's doing one of these right here, he's pissed. He's telling you to get back. Get back. You know why? Because he has a hot cow, or he has a cow that's going to be coming into heat. My first response after hearing that angry bugle is this right here. I'm going to try to lip ball. I'm going to try to call that cow away from that dude over there, because he's obviously afraid of me coming over there to steal her anyway. So why not just try to call her? And then you're more than likely going to see that bull come over and say, hey, you can't be talking to my cow like that. You know what I mean? Give him that lip ball. If you've got that bull and he's giving you that angry sound, right? Then he's telling you that he's got a hot cow. That's your opportunity to close the distance, make sure the wind is right, close the distance, and then call to his cow. Even give him, like Joe always says, a bow call, right? It's basically that bull cow calling to the cow and trying to convince her to come over and see him. He might do this right here. You hear that kind of that cow call at the very beginning of it? He kind of rolls into that aggressive roundup bugle. But there, you have to analyze everything that they say. Like, don't be afraid. Like, if you hear a bull sound off, don't just respond to him immediately. You have time to decipher, okay, what was that bull telling me right there? Was he telling me to stay back? Or was he telling me to come over? If I gave a cow call and that bull responded, a lot of times, if you give a cow call and that bull responds, then he's actually asking you to come over. Like, you can hear it in his voice whenever, if you don't do what he's asking, he will ask again a couple different times. And if you're still not doing it, then his voice changes. You'll hear him start to get kind of aggravated and pissed off. And that's whenever you've got to understand, like, what do I do next, right? You don't stand there and call. If a bull is giving you, like I gave a cow call. Off in the distance, you hear this bull. He's asking you to come over there to him. So your response should either be start moving towards him and give him a cow call every now and then to let him know that you're coming, or you could throw out a bugle and then a cow call to let him know that, hey, maybe there's something else going on over here, like you have a hot cow. There's so many different scenarios. You just have to understand what he is saying. Like you're not trying to piss a bull off. If you can get a bull that's not pissed off to come in, they're going to come in a lot more relaxed and not really looking to fight, if that makes any sense. Most of the times, I'm giving the impression like I have a hot cow and I am using my cow to draw that bull over to me, okay? Most of the times, anytime a bull responds, I'm responding with cow noises because I'm always a lover before I'm a fighter, right? The love is going to draw that bull in a lot faster than you wanting to fight. Guarantee you that. I don't know how many times I've seen guys push bulls away and get too aggressive right off the bat. Whenever, if you listen back to what the bull was saying, he was talking to the cow. He wasn't even talking to that bull. And then the guy bugling screams at that other bull and he's like, oh, god dang, okay. And he leaves the country because he was really talking to that cow. And if you would have taken that cow and you'd gave him a couple of little sexy cow calls and let him know that you're on your way, I love to do this right here. I'll run forward as I'm cow calling. I'm closing the distance, and then I shut up. And then I'll run back, all the way back, another 40 yards back to where I started, and then I'll blow a bugle behind me like I'm trying to keep a hold of that cow. Right? It gives it that, it tells the other bull that, oh my gosh, that cow, she's coming over to me, y'all. And next thing you know, that bull's over there inviting that cow. And here you are running towards that bull as the cow right up until you get too close or uncomfortably close to where then you ask that bull to come to you, right? You closed all that distance. Once I've closed all that distance and that bull thinks that that cow's right there, a lot of times he'll holler at me and ask me where I'm at, right? He'll do this right here. Sometimes they'll chuckle, sometimes they won't. But he's basically asking that cow, hey, where are you at? And then I hit him with this. That's telling that bull, you need to come to me now. I'm not coming any further. And then at the same time, round up bugle back behind you like that bull has followed that cow, thinking that that cow is hot. You're setting that scenario, right? I don't ever like to go into a scenario where a bull immediately thinks that I want to fight him, because 9 times out of 10, and you guys can go watch the all the bro hunters, and a lot of times those guys, they're scaring bulls off more than they're bringing in. Like they have this rule that it's a game of 8s, right? After 8 bulls, then they'll get 1 to come in. Man, I'll be honest with you guys, that wasn't the case. Last year, in 2020, I called to 4 different bulls, and we killed 2 of them. That's 50%. That's pretty damn good in the elk woods. Last year, the very first elk that I saw, I killed it, opening day. And then I hunted another 28 days with Kyle. I called in, this is no BS, y'all. I called in 14 bulls to bow range. Kyle missed 3 of them and ended up shooting 1 of them in the brisket. 14 to bow range. I don't know. There was a couple in there that we never got to really see or get into bow range. But it's by doing this right here. It's by being that lover and not a fighter. Okay. Just because it sounds like that bull is wanting to fight, he's not necessarily wanting to fight. He's just telling you that he probably has a hot cow and he don't want you coming any closer. So that's a whole nother situation than trying to get like a lone bull fired up to come fight. That's because you have a hot cow and you've asked him to come over with that cow voice, right? That presents a whole different situation. He comes in and he's looking for that cow. He's not looking for a fight. He's not looking to try to have to run away if something, if that other bull comes out of nowhere to try to spar or something like that. That's just the way I look at it. Hope that answered your question, man. Chasing Giant said, I just cracked a rock star. Flatlander, you are a superstar, brother. Appreciate it, man. I really do. Thomas Hawker said, good info, brother. Keep doing the live stream. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. White lightning. I have called in cows before. Believe it or not, one day I dropped my bugle tube. I'm bad about it, man. I've lost several of these things. And I didn't have my bugle tube with me, and I heard a bull bugle like off in the distance. And I was like, shit, man, I don't have anything to try to amplify, or get my bugle out there. So I've always been able to do this since I was a kid. So I just whistled at him. No BS. I whistle bugled at him. Like that. Swear to God, y'all. Within 15 or 20 seconds, all of a sudden, I'm looking through the woods and I see two cows just running full speed at me, like bucking and like frisky, running. And in tow, there was a bull directly behind them. The cows came and stopped at like 60 yards. The bull came in what I thought was the same opening as the cows. Anyways, I took a shot. I ended up shooting right underneath the bull. But I actually bugled, and those cows came running, like sprinting into me, and was looking around, cow calling. I mean, they were looking for that bull that bugled over there, and the whole time it was just a whistle that I did. Holden Smith says, when e-scouting, do you concentrate on wilderness areas since there won't be any road hunting pressure and potentially less people back in the backcountry or back in deep? Holden, I do like to concentrate on either areas without trails or road or wilderness areas. The wilderness areas aren't always the best, I've found, because you'll find that a lot of guys want to go deep, right? They want to get that outfitter and they want to pack them in at 10 miles and this and that or whatever. I really like to hone in on big plots of private property that have big plots of public property with no trails or roads near that, okay? A lot of times I'll hike in and a lot of times, y'all, I'm within 4 or 5 miles of a private land boundary, a big ass ranch, okay? That I know elk are more than likely gonna go feed down into these wide open hay ranches or something like that. And then they're gonna come back up into the private or into the public in the morning and spend all day bedded down up on a north side slope somewhere close to that private property. I do that a lot. With that being said, we do hunt wilderness area. Don't get me wrong. We have several units that we've been hunting throughout the years now that me and Kyle, if we don't see the elk sign that we like in one area, we will straight pick up, hike out that day, get the truck, drive 2 hours, go to another unit. If we get there at dark, then we're going to hike into a place that we think there's going to be water, and then we're going to night bugle our whole hike in there. And then once we get a bugle, then we're going to stop and wait and basically stop and wait where we know those elk are going to be feeding all night, waiting for them to come up into the beds during the day. Roy King, have you heard of the doorway? So Roy, I think you're talking about like whenever you're doing a setup and making sure you're in an area where the elk is going to have a doorway. I think that's what you're kind of getting at, where they're going to come into an area and then stop in a doorway and look. Um, I don't hold a lot of that. Here's what I want to do. Okay, I don't look for any specific doorways or anything like that. Okay. I make sure that I'm in an area so tight or so thick that by the time I see the elk moving through, he's going to either be between 5 yards and 40. Okay. I'm trying to get him inside of that. And that's the doorway that I'm looking for. Most of the times, like the bulls that Kyle and I have called in, they've been under 20 yards, y'all. No BS. Kyle's bull this year, 8 yards. Last year he missed one at 22 yards. There was another one he shot right in front of his nose. He was in the middle of drawing back and ended up popping his release on his jacket and shot right in front of the bull, and the bull was at like 16 yards. 24 yards. I'm trying to think through all the majority of the time, we don't pay attention to that doorway, but I guarantee it's somewhere in between that 20 and 40 yards. We like them to be thick. That's why we don't use a decoy, because by the time we see the elk, he's so close that it's just a chip shot to make that shot. My bull this year at 40, he was like at 43, 44 yards. He's the longest elk that I've taken a shot at. Other than one time whenever I was first ever hunting, I took a shot at like 70 yards at this bull out in the middle of a park. And of course I shot way over his back. He jumped a string, blah, blah, blah. What else, y'all? It's getting a little bit late. We're running damn near 2 hours on here already. Last couple questions, and then we'll probably head out. I'll probably do another one of these next week or next weekend, something like that. And maybe we can go over some gear. Anybody have any questions on any gear or anything like that? Y'all keep in mind, if you have a question that you don't want to put out here in front of everybody, Flatlander Hunt at Yahoo. You guys can hit me up on there. I got more hats. Everybody, all the new subscribers, you guys are killing it. All the old subscribers, you guys are watching and commenting on everything, man. It's so cool. Y'all go listen to me on the Elk Bros podcast. We'll have another one that'll be posting this Tuesday, I believe. Also, if you guys have a spare $100, you should go try and put in your application for Hunt Wars. They're drawing 4 elk tags, 4 mule deer tags, 2 antelope tags, and 2 duck hunting tags. If you get drawn for the elk, y'all, I will be there as your elk hunting coach on site hunting the Gila in New Mexico, y'all. Every bit of it is filmed. You have the opportunity to win $5,000 plus a ton of gear. I think they're going to give you guys, I probably shouldn't even be talking about this. I think they're going to give you guys a new bow. You're getting camo, new packs, Phelps game calls, Leopold, a spot and scope, binoculars, all kind of stuff, y'all. Jeff Miller, if you want to hit me up, Flatlander Hunt at Yahoo. The hats are $25. It's just me personally. I don't have a web page or any of that crap yet. I've been talking about it. I just can't decide what I want to do. But if you want a hat, I've got the black and I've got these gray ones. $25 plus shipping. Hit me up on Flatlander Hunt at yahoo.com. What else? BJ, he says, shh, don't tell nobody about the Hunt Wars. BJ, I entered myself. I'm hoping that I can get in on one of these mule deer hunts at least, but I know I'm going to be there for the elk hunt for sure. Any last minute questions, guys, before I close this out? I can't tell you how much, how much I appreciate y'all. And I think it's cool to be able to do these live chats and answer any questions. I do have a review coming up, long-term review on the Exo Mountain Gear K3 4800 Born and Raised Edition pack. I'm going to try to edit that tomorrow night and possibly get it out early week next week. Y'all let me know what you need more help with, okay? There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of stuff that you need to know when you're going out there. Hopefully all of y'all have good hunting partners that are like-minded, that want to push, wake up early, hike high, don't give up, play the wind, never give up. That's it, period. You have to start right now. September started last month, right? I can't wait, you guys. Hit me up, email, leave me a comment, any of that stuff. See ya.